Although the conflicts that have taken place in the post-Soviet space are presented as separate tragedies, in reality, they are all the product of a single, unified system managed from one center. And that center has always been Moscow. TodayPress TV reports that these views were expressed by Professor of Political Science at Khazar University, Ramis Yunus, in a post on his Facebook account. The professor noted that Azerbaijan's Karabakh, Georgia's Abkhazia and the Tskhinvali region, Moldova's Transnistria, and Ukraine's Crimea and Donbass have for many years been portrayed as unique and unrelated conflicts. This is a convenient but mistaken view. In fact, all of them are links in the same chain. The names and ideologies have changed, but the principle has remained the same: divide and rule. This is carried out not only with weapons, but far more effectively through control of consciousness. According to Ramis Yunus, during the Soviet period, this mission was carried out by the ideological apparatus of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, located on Old Square in Moscow. That apparatus determined who was right and who was guilty, which conflicts were considered historically just and which were labeled as nationalist distortions. The professor emphasized that although the USSR collapsed, this system did not disappear. It merely changed its form. Today, the same function is performed by the Russian presidential administration. Previously, there was one party and one ideology. Now there is pluralism for show, but monopoly in reality. Ramis Yunus described the Karabakh conflict as one of the clearest examples of this mechanism. Why was an Armenian-centered narrative promoted for decades across the post-Soviet space? Why did Azerbaijan lose the information war even when defending itself? The answer is simple: because the Kremlin systematically shaped the narrative it needed. This was done not so much through weapons as through soft power, via media, experts, journalists, and independent platforms. The analyst noted that this process was not accidental and that Russian special services played a key role. During the Soviet era, the KGB was the system's shield and sword. Today, the FSB and affiliated structures do the same work, sometimes openly, sometimes invisibly. Ramis Yunus stated that the same scenario was applied in Georgia, Moldova, and Ukraine as well. Wherever it happens, the model is the same: create or freeze a conflict, conceal the aggressor, distribute blame between two sides, and present Moscow as a mediator. This was done not only through overtly imperial figures, but also through individuals presented as good Russians with liberal and anti-war images. They look different, but they spread the same core narratives. One of the Kremlin's greatest successes was exporting these views to the West. This was done not directly, but through left-liberal Russian politicians and experts perceived as alternatives to Putin. For years, the West heard that everything is not so clear-cut and that Russia is not a party, but a mediator. This approach worked for a long time, including in the case of Azerbaijan. The professor believes that a turning point began when Azerbaijan correctly understood the essence of the problem. During the First Karabakh War, there was no information strategy. By the time of the Second Karabakh War, the situation had fundamentally changed. Official Baku built a systematic state information policy, began working with foreign audiences, and abandoned illusions about neutral Russian speakers. As a result, during the 44-day Second Karabakh War, alongside the military victory, a serious breakthrough was achieved on the information front as well. The Armenian-centered approach was largely neutralized both in the post-Soviet space and in the West. Ramis Yunus summarized the main conclusion as follows: "It is impossible to confront the Kremlin in a fragmented way. As long as Georgia thinks only of itself, Ukraine only of itself, and Moldova only of itself, the system in Moscow will continue to function as a single organism." This truth became especially clear after Russia's full-scale aggression against Ukraine on February 24, 2022. In conclusion, Ramis Yunus issued a call to post-Soviet countries. If coordinated and systematic protection of the information space is not established, history will repeat itself again and again, in different geographies, under different pretexts, but with the same outcome. The professor ended his remarks with a quote from British writer George Orwell: "Who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past."